The first time I saw the porcelain doll, I was only looking for old photo albums in my grandmother's attic. The house itself was already unsettling, filled with the smell of damp wood and dust that seemed older than time. I pushed aside a few cracked boxes, and there it was resting against the rafters, dressed in a faded laced gown, its glass eyes catching the weak light through a broken window. It wasn't beautiful. It was cracked around the mouth, and one side of its porcelain cheek had been chipped away. Yet what froze me wasn't its damaged face, but the way its icy blue eyes seemed locked on mine, unblinking, intent, as though waiting. I told myself it was only a trick of the light, the way glass reflects at strange angles, but when I moved left, its gaze followed. When I moved right, the eyes did not let go. I laughed uneasily, shoved it back behind some boxers, and tried to forget. That night, I dreamed of it. In the dream, I was lying in my bed, and the doll was perched on my chest, staring down at me, too heavy to push away, too alive to be just porcelain. I woke sweating, convinced the dream was nothing more than nerves from rummaging around in a dusty attic. But when I opened my eyes, I saw it. The doll was sitting in the chair across my room. My grandmother had passed years ago. I lived alone, and the attic had been locked since I left. I told myself I must have carried it downstairs without remembering, but the unease didn't leave me. I carried it back up, placed it on the shelf in the far corner, and left quickly. But that didn't matter, because the next morning it was back in my bedroom, head tilted, eyes locked on me with that same merciless stare. It began with sounds, the kind of noises you tell yourself are just the house settling, but in your gut, you know it's more. In the dead of night, I'd hear faint taps, like fingernails against wood, or the slow creak of something stepping onto a floorboard. One evening, I locked the doll inside a trunk, piled heavy books on top, and told myself I'd solve the problem. But at 3 a.m, I woke to the sound of the trunk lid opening. A slow, scraping groan, followed by a soft thud. As something small climbed free, I didn't dare breathe. From the corner of my eye, I saw it. The doll standing upright in the middle of my floor, its porcelain arms bent at angles no doll should move, its shadow stretching unnaturally long in the moonlight. Its eyes glowed faintly, catching something not of this world. And in the silence, I swear I heard my name whispered faint, but sharp, like a shard of glass dragged across my skin. The nights became unbearable. No matter where I left it, the doll found me. I began to see it in places I had left it, in the kitchen corner while I brewed coffee in the hallway as I walked, to the bathroom even in the reflection of my television screen, though the room behind me was empty. Once, I heard laughter. High and childlike, echoing faintly from inside the walls. When I ripped apart the drywall in desperation, there was nothing inside but more dust. Still, the laughter returned every night, sometimes growing closer, sometimes circling the house, until I felt trapped inside a living nightmare. Have you ever felt that moment when silence becomes heavier than noise? When you realize the quiet isn't empty, it's waiting. That's what every second in that house became. Desperate, I tried to destroy it. I carried the doll outside, lit a fire in the rusted metal barrel my grandfather once used for burning leaves, and dropped the porcelain figure into the flames. The fire raged. The smoke stung my eyes, and for the first time in weeks, you felt relief. But then I heard it cracking, not from the porcelain, but like bone breaking, followed by a low, rattling giggle rising from the flames themselves. My heart stopped. The doll was burning, yet through the smoke, its eyes were fixed on me, not melting, not softening, but glowing with something unnatural. I doused the fire and shattered the remains with a hammer until only shards remained, scattering them far from the house. That night, I slept for the first time in weeks. But in the morning, the pieces were gone, and on my pillow, resting as delicately as if it had never been touched, was the doll, whole again, weak, no cracks, no burns, staring with that same hateful smile. My world unraveled. Shadows began moving on their own. Cold spots chased me from room to room. The mirrors no longer reflected my face. My eyes were blue like the doll's. Sometimes my mouth would smile when I wasn't smiling. I started hearing voices not just at night, But in the day, whispers so soft they felt breathed into my ear, promising things I didn't understand. Calimito stay with her forever. I avoided sleep, but exhaustion brought hallucinations, or maybe they weren't hallucinations. Once, while drifting between waking and sleep, I felt a weight on my chest, heavy and cold. When I opened my eyes, the doll was lying across me, its porcelain hands gripping my throat, and though its mouth had never opened before, I saw its lips move as it hissed a single word. Mine. The world outside became no safer. I tried leaving the house, booking a hotel room in the city, desperate for escape. But the doll followed. I left it behind locked doors, only to find it sitting on the passenger seat of my car at a red light. Once, I returned from a long walk, only to see it through the window, already waiting inside my hotel room. People began noticing me talking to myself because I could no longer tell when the whispers were inside my head or outside. And the whispers grew crueler, sharper promises of tearing me apart from the inside, of peeling away my humanity piece by piece, until nothing was left but the doll's will. Worst of all was the mirror. Every night, I brushed my teeth, I looked up, and little by little, the reflection shifted. My hair would flicker to the color of old straw, my skin grew pale as porcelain, and finally, the eyes, my once brown eyes, now shimmering with the dullness of frozen blue. I smashed the mirrors, covered every reflective surface, but that didn't save me. Every window became a mirror, every puddle, every screen. Every time I looked, I saw more of her, less of me. And I understood the truth. Tedao wasn't following me. It was becoming me. Or worse, I was becoming it. Have you ever wondered what it would feel like to lose control of your own body? To still be trapped inside, watching someone or something use your face as their mask? That's what I feel now. Every time I speak, I can't be sure if it's my voice or hers. Every time I blink, I wonder if when my eyes open, they'll still be mine. I know this isn't just a haunting, it's possession. The doll doesn't need the porcelain anymore. It doesn't need the cracked body I tried to burn. It has me. I feel it in every cold breath, in every time my reflection lingers a second too long, in every time my voice catches in my throat like someone else is pulling the strings. And when I sleep, I dream of endless attics filled with thousands of dolls, each with eyes identical to mine, staring, waiting, whispering. Maybe each of those dolls was once someone else who thought they could destroy it, who thought they could run. Maybe that's the real curse. There's never just one doll, because once it takes you, your soul is added to its collection, another pair of eyes to follow the next victim. I don't know how long I have left before I'm gone completely. Maybe by the time you hear this, it won't even be me speaking anymore. Maybe it will be her. And maybe when you look into the corner of your room tonight, you will notice a doll you've never seen before, one with eyes so cold they cut right through the dark eyes that will follow you no matter where you move. And if you do, don't touch it. Don't try to destroy it. Don't even look too long, because once it notices you, once you meet its gaze, the game is over. It won't need to follow you. It will already be inside you. And then you'll understand why I whisper these words with a voice that isn't fully mine anymore. Because she is listening too, and she wants me to invite you in. If you think this is the end, you're wrong. The nightmare doesn't stop here. The doll isn't done, and neither are the horrors waiting in the dark. If you dare to step deeper into this abyss, click on the next story now. But remember, once you enter, there is no turning back.